friends, since we're learning about rocks today, every year when Mrs. Hoffman teaches kindergarten friends about rocks, I always like to read this story. It's called A Rock is Lively. So, we talked about rocks are not alive, but the author of this book thinks that rocks are lively. So, let's decide why they think that. This is a book that's written by Diana Hutz Aston and Sylvia Long. So, one of my favorite parts of this book is all the pictures of the rocks have the names written next to them. So, this is gold. This is a rock called amethyst. This is turquoise. This is called peridot. And if you go to southern Utah and you see rocks that have pictures that were made from people long ago, those are usually on sandstone rocks. This rock is called a lapis lazuli. This rock is called a snowflake obsidian. So it's black and it has lots of really neat white parts that look like a snowflake. This one is called gypsum, and this one is called malachite. So there's lots of fun places that you and your family can go in Utah, and you can look for different rocks. So talk to mom and dad and say, maybe we can take a trip this summer to look for interesting rocks. A rock is lively. On the first couple of pages, these don't have the names of the rocks, but these are all different types of rocks. Rocks are really fun to explore and learn about, and it's fun to go to places where there are lots of different kinds of rocks. A rock is lively. There's a really fun type of rock called a geode, and when you break this rock open, you see a wonderful inside. A lot of times it looks like crystals and it's very sparkly. And there is a place in Utah where you can go and look for geodes. But Mrs. Hoffman forgot what it's called. I'm going to ask my dad and see if he can tell me, and then I'll tell you. A rock is lively. There is another kind of rock that's very colorful. This one right here, it's called an agate rock. So let's see if Mrs. Hoffman can get the pictures right. A rock is lively. This is the snowflake obsidian rock. Bubbling like a pot of soup, deep beneath the earth's crust, liquid, molten, boiling. So deep beneath the earth's crust is liquid molten. Depending on what type of rock it is, a rock melts at temperatures between 13,000 and 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit. That is very, very hot. So this drawing is showing how the earth has several layers, and in the middle is the molten rock. A rock is mixed up. All rocks are made of a mix of ingredients called minerals. Just as a batter of flour, butter, and sugar make a cookie, a batter of minerals make a rock. The recipe for a rock might include minerals like aluminum, copper, diamond, fluorite, gold, gypsum, lead, topaz, and turquoise. This lapis lazuli is a type of rock that is made of these minerals. Isn't that pretty? A rock is galactic. Outer space is a shower of rocky fireworks. In outer space, there are meteoroids that are rocks that range in size from a grain of sand to a basketball. They become meteors or shooting stars when they streak through Earth's amazing atmosphere and then they vaporize. That means they break apart. Sometimes pieces of the meteor aren't vaporized and they land on the Earth's surface. These are called meteorites. Comets are balls of rock and ice, sometimes called dirty snowballs, that are heated by the sun and soar through space, leaving glowing ribbons of dust behind them. Asteroids are giant chunks of rocks and metal. They can weigh millions of tons. The largest known asteroid is 650 miles in diameter. That is huge. It would take a person 352 hours, or nearly 15 days, to walk around it. A rock is old. The oldest known rocks on Earth were formed billions of years before the sky turned from green to blue, before dinosaurs thundered across the Earth, before humans learned how to make fire. The oldest rocks ever found were 4.5 billion years old. So these are the types of rocks that are very old. A rock is huge. Considered by many to be the world's largest rock, Australia's Mount Augustus is a sandstone rock with an elevation or height of 3,628 feet above sea level, about 1,000 feet higher than the world's tallest skyscraper. A rock is huge and a rock is tiny. The carpets of sand on the floors and shores of oceans, lakes, and rivers come from larger rocks that have been ground through weathering into tiny grains. A rock is helpful. Some birds swallow stones to help them digest food. As the muscles in the gizzards of their stomachs move, food is chewed and crushed by rocks in the same way humans use teeth to break down their food. Did you know that? Sea otters lie on their backs and use rocks to crack open shells on their stomachs. Seagulls drop mollusks onto the rocks to break apart their shells. Chimpanzees and crows crack the hard shells of nuts on rocks. So rocks are helpful to animals. Oh, I forgot to read this one. Crocodiles, seals, and sea lions also ingest rocks. The extra weight or ballast helps them dive deeper into the water. I bet you didn't know that. A rock is surprising. Some rocks need to be broken open to reveal their beauty. Geodes, round, hollow rocks found mostly in deserts or beds of volcanic ash, hide sparkly crystals. The crystals were once liquids, but trapped inside the rock for thousands of years, they changed into jewels of many colors. Agates, too, with their colorful layers created by liquid deposits, are often found in volcanic rock. So, lots of rocks might not look very interesting on the outside, but when you crack them open, they are very beautiful. A rock is inventive. Long ago, humans chiseled rocks into sharp-edged weapons and tools. Flaky flint and obsidian rocks were chipped into arrowheads, spear points, axes, and hammers. Rough granite, sandstone, and lava rocks were shaped into mortars and pestles used for grinding seeds, rice, nuts, chilies, and garlic into food. So rocks can also be something that helps us. Today, humans use rocks to make cement and bricks, paper and pencils, and glass and toothpaste. So we use rocks to help us. A rock is creative. Tens of thousands of years ago, before there was writing, ancient peoples told stories through symbols with colors made from minerals that they painted pictographs on cave walls, rock shelters, and ledges. They chipped and pecked the surface of stones to make petroglyphs. So there are lots of places in Utah where you can see petroglyphs. So people long, long ago, before there were pencils and papers, they told stories about their families and about their group of people by making pictures on rocks. So it's really fun to go see those. In more recent history, artists and builders have chiseled great sculptures and monuments from all kinds of rock. So there are all kinds of ways that people have used rock. A rock is recycled. Sedimentary rocks like coal and limestone have eroded over time into smaller pieces of sand, pebbles, and gravel, and then were pressed together like a layer cake with fossil seashells and decayed plants. Metamorphic rocks began as sedimentary or igneous, but were baked and squeezed so hard by heat and pressure they became metamorphic rocks like slate and marble. Igneous rocks are formed by magma. When magma erupts through volcanoes, it cools and hardens into rocks like granite and pumice. Pumice is so light that it floats. A rock doesn't hurry. Over thousands of millions of years, it changes from one form to another. This is called the rock cycle. In a process called erosion, a rock is squashed and scraped by glaciers, whirled by waves and rain, and pushed deep into the earth until it turns into magma. Then a rock is once again lively. So here's why the author thinks a rock is lively. As rocks get pushed down into the center of the earth, they are heated and heated and heated until they turn into molten lava. And this type of rock comes from the lava and this rock is called obsidian. Here are all the different types of rocks. Not all of them. There are many different kinds. These are just some of the kinds of rocks. So I'm going to hold this picture up so that you can look at all the different kinds of rock and the names of the rock. Aren't they beautiful? I want you to go outside today and find some really fun rocks.